Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses, and today we've got another round of bikes coming next year. There's lots coming through, so let's roll the intro and get cracking. And we start off today with Kawasaki and the baby version of their W650, and that is the W230. Now this uses a 233cc single-cylinder fuel-injected engine, produces just under 17.5 brake horsepower and just under 14 pounds-foot of torque. It's got that retro style, and they're seeing, I think, that Honda did very, very well with their GB350, and they thought, oh, we want a bit of that. So they've jumped on the bandwagon with this, the 233. I don't know if the UK wants a 233cc bike. Doesn't seem enough above the 125, and I know, obviously, manufacturers don't just cater for the UK market. I get that. But it just seems 233cc isn't quite enough. Maybe they should have gone for a 300 just to encourage people to get off the 125s and go for something a bit more. Like most other manufacturers are doing, to be honest. 300, 350 seems to be the standard. So 233 to me seems a little bit low, but we'll see how well this does. What other features does it have? Well, you've got a 265mm front disc with a double piston caliper and a 220mm rear disc with a single piston caliper. Front suspension's not massive. You've got 37mm front forks, and they're right way up forks, so I suppose you could argue that they are just in keeping with that classic look. But it does only have a 745mm seat height. That's pretty good. And it only weighs 133 kilos. Again, pretty good. 12-litre fuel tank. And the right looks, I think. It really does capture that classic, old school, sort of pre-80s bike, Honda Super Dream sort of era, that kind of thing. So, again, if the limit was 250, it would be perfect. But I just think it needs a bigger engine. What do you think? Let me know. And next, despite the fact that they're losing their UK importer at the end of the year, and they haven't announced a new one or even found a new one yet, Moto Morini have another bike coming out. Now again, I know it's not just for the UK market, but they are losing their importer in a few European countries as well. But it doesn't seem to stop them. They're still ploughing forward, and hopefully there will be a new importer announced soon. Let's watch this space. But what about the bike? Well, it's another 350 bobber. This time with a V-twin, 60-degree V-twin that produces 32 brake horsepower and 22 pounds-foot of torque, which is the same as their 3.5. Again, another bike with a low seat height, just 740mm, but it is a cruiser bobber style bike. Sort of capturing the essence of what a Harley needs to be if it was a smaller capacity bike. Like they do in India with Hero. They make low capacity Harley Davidsons. Well, it's China's version of that, really, I guess. Weight, they're saying, is dry 177 kilos, so let's say 190 kilos once it's all fueled up and everything else. Top speed, you're looking at about 90 miles an hour, maybe just under 85 to 90 in the real world, and it's got a 14.5 litre fuel tank. Now, it is the right capacity for someone who wants a starter bobber but doesn't want a 125. So maybe it'll be popular. It certainly looks the part, and I think on paper it sounds pretty decent. All they need to do is sort out a European importer, or half a Europe and a UK importer. So if they can do that, 2026 we'll see this on our streets. And next we've got something rather interesting from Bender, or BD Moto, whichever you want to say, whichever makes you want to jump on the bike more. And that is the not stolen from the Mustang, but it is P51. Except this is a 250 hybrid. Doesn't sound interesting yet? Well, get a load of these figures. This hybrid actually uses a liquid-cooled double overhead cam 250cc engine, but it is matched with an electric motor, which means it produces 62 brake horsepower and 74 pounds-foot of torque. which means it's apparently supposed to do 0 to 62 in 3.7 seconds. That's pretty impressive, if it's to be believed. Well, and I can't see why they'd lie about it, but let's see. It looks interesting as well, because the 250cc engine is a boxer engine like you'd see in BMW. It's weird, isn't it? It's a 250cc boxer with an electric motor that does 62, or produces 62 horsepower and 74 pounds-foot of torque. That's pretty impressive on paper. So that, I think, is one to watch. I'm keen to see that in the flesh, and I'm keen to get on it as well. I think that'll be an interesting ride. So again, watch that space for that one. Or watch this space for that one. Whichever space you're watching. Watch it and wait for it. Royal Enfield, not content with the 650s they've got at the moment. You've got the Interceptor, you've got the Bear, you've got the Super Meteor, you've got the Shotgun. Now they're adding the Classic to that 650 range. Yes, it's a bike that's not quite a Super Meteor and not quite a Shotgun, more of a classic bullet version of the 650. Now this 650 is not light, it's 243 kilos, which is almost 30 kilos more than the Bear, and 25 kilos more than the Interceptor, but it's got that bullet look, which is going back to what Royal Enfield were for years. And it's going to be similar priced at £6,750. Using their 650 that produces 47 brake horsepower, so it's A2 compatible, but it's just got the look of the Bullet, isn't it? It's that classic look with the modern mechanics. So maybe it'll be a good seller. What do you think? I think it will be probably a good seller. But let me know in the comment section below what you think of this. And Ducati have announced their new off-road scramblery type bike, the Desmo 450. It's supposed to be coming to us in the UK in July 2026, so stay tuned for that one. Have a look at this. Now this is a road legal enduro bike, which is using, for an enduro bike, quite large, an 8.5 litre fuel tank. You've got an 18-inch rear wheel, 449cc, so it is definitely a 450. And it's certainly going to be going up against the likes of KTM and Gas and things like that. Although I have heard as well that Gas is stopping production in Spain. So something else we need to look into at a later date, perhaps, once there's more information on that. But yes, so that's another bike coming through for the off-road range in the 450 style. So yeah. What do you think of that? No price announced yet, but yes, I think it will be quite popular. It certainly looks like it's going to take on a lot of the off-road world. You've got 49mm Showa front forks on it, and is rumoured to have a quick shifter on it as well. And there's news from Suzuki. Now, they currently have an up to 7-year warranty on their new bikes. Well, now they're introducing an up to 10-year warranty on new and used bikes as well. But of course, there are conditions. Now, those conditions are, with a new bike, you get a 3-year warranty as standard. You can then upgrade that to up to 10 years as long as the bike is serviced at the correct intervals at an official or an authorized Suzuki service centre. Now, with the used bikes, you can buy a used bike that maybe hasn't had its service regularly, so it's had its 3-year services, and then the person didn't continue the service. If you buy that used bike, as long as it's under 10 years old, you can then get it serviced at a service centre, get a health check done on it at this service centre, and then reinstate that warranty back up to 10 years if you want to. I think this will increase the price of used Suzukis. I think as long as they've got these things in place, people will go, oh, maybe I can buy a 5-year-old Suzuki now, and then I can just get my warranty. So, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. There's always conditions with these, as long as they get serviced at a Suzuki centre. I don't know what the prices are of the services. Depends on the place you buy it from, I guess. But, yeah, I think it will help their used sales. I don't know how Suzuki has been doing in sales. I haven't looked into it recently. But yeah, I know that my local dealer, CJ Balls in Norwich, who was Suzuki and Honda for years, is now just Honda. During this year, they ditched the Suzuki side. So, yeah, maybe that's quite telling of what's going on, and they're thinking, oh, what can we do to bring people back into the Suzuki fold? I know, we'll have another warranty system. So, yeah, let me know if you think that's going to work and if that will encourage you to buy a used Suzuki. Now, as I say, the conditions are, as long as the bike is under 10 years old or 70,000 miles, you can, which is quite high for a bike, isn't it? You can do this up to 10-year warranty, and it'd be interesting to see whether that affects their sales figures and their used prices. And finally, we have something a little bit different, although I think it's going to be hated by a lot of people because it's electric. Ha! Now, wait a second. It's the Verge, but it is pretty damn powerful. Now, this thing looks a bit sort of Ducati-esque mixed with a zero, but it has the equivalent of 136.5 horsepower and 737 pounds-foot of torque. How do you even compute that in your brain? 737 pounds-foot of torque. That, to me, is like you get on that and it just goes... Bah! I mean, it doesn't seem realistically possible, does it? I don't know how you can sort of harness that power, because if you've got 700 pounds-foot of torque and 136 horsepower, that just says to me that you're going to get on it, open the throttle, and it's just going to go whoosh, and if you can get the power down, it's just going to go bye. I don't know. I mean, it's you have to ride it, I suppose, to know how they deliver that torque and how it is translated to usable power. On paper, it sounds really impressive and unbelievably fast, but how does that translate in the real world? It's just a bit odd, I find, with these electric. Maybe it's my Gen X-ness coming through, or I'm just a bit thick, but it just sounds sort of an unnecessary figure to put out there, doesn't it? But something that is a bit more relatable is apparently it does have a range of about 215 miles, and you can recharge in about 15 minutes 60 miles worth of use, and apparently it'll recharge the whole bike in about 35 minutes, which again is something that is more relatable in the real world. It's what people have been talking about. I don't want to say crying, I shouldn't have said that, I apologise. Unless you have been crying, and then maybe you should see someone about that. But yeah, 217 miles sounds a lot more usable on an electric bike than anything else, and the fact that you can charge it fully in 35 minutes or in 15 minutes, so by the time you've had a pee and a coffee, you can then get another 60-mile range out of it, on paper, of course. That also doesn't, though, tell us how much the bike is in the first place. You know, if this is a £25,000 bike, then all that becomes moot, really, doesn't it? So there you go. That's a little bit of news for now, and I will see you back very soon with my motorcycle live videos. I'm heading there tomorrow, Tuesday. The reason why I'm going Tuesday and not on Media Monday is because I think everyone's going to go on Media Monday. You've got the dealers going and you've got media going, and then the people that rushed up there on Saturday to get their first videos out. Okay, fair enough. I didn't get there first, but I'd rather go on Tuesday where it's a little bit quieter, that I can look round a bit better and hopefully bring some interesting bikes. So let's see what's there tomorrow. But that's it for this news. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Click the notification bell for those uploads so you don't miss those, and I will see you in the next video. So until then, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye bye.